You're like a video pro though.
I've learned a lot lately. I don't know if y'all are going to talk about Canva, but Canva has a great tool for video that I don't even know about.
Yeah, I haven't used it too much, so I'm curious what you have to share.
I found it incredibly user-friendly.
Yeah.
Like it was, I mean, I had to go on YouTube and get a little bit of a tutorial, but I mean, other than that, I found it easier and a better quality than some of the other film editing I've tried to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll add that to my list of suggestions. Yeah, it's crazy how much improvements Canva has made over the past couple of years. They've done a lot.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they offered that. I just got one of the emails that they kick out every week or so, and it said something about, create video content. And I thought, okay. I mean, it's sometimes a little tricky, but I'm getting a lot better at it. And Canva, I really, I practiced and put us together like a Happy New Year video that I think turned out pretty well. And next time
I saw that one.
Yeah, I think I'll be able to make it better next time with some practice.
What's the max length on that in Canva? Do you know?
I have no idea. I mean, you kind of add it slide by slide. So I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question that I don't have an answer to.
But the usability, like you said, how user-friendly it is definitely speaks volumes for it, because I can honestly say there's not really a true easy video editor really out there. Everything requires a little bit of know-how.
Right. I found Lumen to be a little clumsy sometimes and not give me the clear content that I would like. What I want to know from this meeting, and maybe I'm getting way ahead of myself, maybe we haven't even started the meeting, I don't even know, is taking that video content, and it's easy to send out, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those places, even Twitter, embedding it in an email for, that's what I'm struggling with, because like Constant Contact, that video file was too big. So how do we overcome that? Like, what's the solution there?
Have you used MailChimp?
I have not. It's just all of our contacts are in Constant Contact, and I feel like I don't know that I want to switch, but does MailChimp support that?
So there's a workaround no matter what client you're using. What I do is I take a screenshot of the video and I put a little button over it to incite people to click on it. And then when you click on the image, it takes you to the video link, whether it's hosted on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you uploaded it. Mm-hmm. Because the issue is those video files are usually too big for your email client. So you have to host them elsewhere and just link to it in your email.
I see.
Yeah, you don't want to.
The easiest way to make it look like you're about to click on the video is take a screenshot of the video and add a little play button. And you can do that in Canva very easily.
Okay.
Email the link to the video, not the video itself.
Correct. Yep. Now, sometimes if your video is short enough, you can get around that and upload it into your email client. One of the workarounds we do is with we upload the video to our website, since we have basically a whole bunch of space in there for when we're uploading PDFs or images or things like that. You can also upload videos there and use the link from there if you're not planning on publishing it on YouTube or Facebook or somewhere publicly like that.
Good to know.
Yes.
All right, I'm done. That answered my question. I'm out. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it's actually perfect that it happened this way, because I did build this session to be more of like video 101, so like the very basics. So if you've kind of been in a video session with me already, you're probably going to hear a lot of the same stuff again. But, if you're like me, maybe the fourth time is when it really sinks in for you.
I'm sure I could use a review.
Right. Well, with that, I'll pull up my outline. I always like to start with pointing out that NAR has some really great tools available for you online. I'll post that link here in the chat, because it is kind of hidden at NAR's website. NAR just gave their website a facelift too, so it looks a little different. Looks a little cleaner. Okay, so NAR has this great section of the website called their reference area, and it's under their library archives under the education tab. Here is the link, and basically this is an area where they've grouped together a bunch of articles and ebooks on doing video specifically as realtors. So what you've got here is lists of ideas for videos, things like introductory emails or personalized email videos, neighborhood tours, things like that. So that's usually where I start with this. And then let me pull up my video presentation list. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Maybe. There we go. And I think you guys know, after doing this a few times with me, I think the hardest part of video is actually doing it, right? Is sitting down, writing a script, determining what your goal is.
Being willing to do it a couple times.
Exactly. Put a little practice into it. You want to sound, somewhat natural, not like it's your first time reading it, but that means you have to read it out loud a few times. Getting your lighting right, there's a lot to it. But I think once you rip off the Band-Aid, get one or two under your belt, realize you don't have to be perfect. It gets a little easier. Now, Laura, you've done quite a few videos for title professionals recently, or a couple.
Yes, I try to. I mean, I try to include video content. The irony being, I don't personally like watching videos a whole lot. Usually, like, even on the news, if something has video, I'm like, oh, I'd rather read the article. But I do know in terms of like search engine optimization and that kind of thing, like anytime I do a video, I put it on our YouTube channel, which is weird that we even have one as a title company, but we do. People like video. I get a lot of good feedback from it. I just had to get over the hump of doing it myself and not feeling weird watching myself in the playback and figuring out what needed to change. And when at all possible, I suck other people in my office into the video, and none of them like it, but I just tell them to get over themselves, and eventually they all participate. I think at this point they're just like, oh, whatever. They're used to my antics.
And that's a great strategy too, especially because then you open up the audience. It's not just people who want to watch you, it's people who want to watch the other people that you're hanging out with.
Well, that's the thing. Like in our office, like I think people know who I am. I'm a marketing director. I'm out there seeing people, but I'm not the person you're working with at the title professionals. It's one of our processors or pre-processors or post-closers, and it gives people a chance to lay eyes on those. Like there's real people behind those emails and phone calls. Like this is what they look like. This is who they are. I think people do like that. And it also gives those people incentives to, let's say it's shared on Facebook, to then share it out to their people. Oh, look, I was in this video, because they might say they don't like it. Some of them genuinely don't, but most people actually do like a little feature in a video.
Right? A little attention can go a long way.
Right. So that's another strategy. And it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, but I keep trying.
Good to hear. And obviously everyone's striving for perfect video and perfect audio, but that is not necessary. people are willing to forgive bad audio or bad video, but not both. So try and keep that in mind when you're working out lighting or audio. Try and at least keep one in a good state. And again, that bringing other people in is also another good way to establish a connection with their audience. So the more you can make the video about the people watching, the more engagement you'll receive, give them a reason to watch. So doing drawings or things like that. Or also making sure when you write your script, Laura mentioned that search engine optimization, you want to make sure that your script does have some keywords out there of what people are actually looking for, because those do build up into your internet presence and will help you show up sooner in search results and on higher pages. One of the other tips you can take to heart is that if you start to do a lot more videos, if you start to publish on a schedule, people can kind of know when to expect your videos are going to come out, whether that's in your monthly newsletter or whether you do one, you know, every 2 weeks on the dot or something like that. And you don't really need any special equipment. We all have cell phones. Most of us have smartphones with pretty high-end cameras. I think if you've got the new iPhone, it's got like 8 cameras on it. So my one tip for you all is your cell phone goes everywhere with you, in your pocket, in your purse, and it collects lint and dust. So if you're going to use your cell phone camera, remember to wipe off your lens, especially before you go to shoot a video. And then also invest in a little tripod. They're not that expensive. You can get a little cheap one for like 20 bucks. And then you don't have to worry about trying to prop your phone up on a stack of books or anything you have nearby. And then, you know, going back to the lighting and microphone, one of the tips I've read recently about microphones, if you don't want to use the one on your phone, earbuds are a great microphone replacement, or Bluetooth earbuds. You can drop them if you've got a shirt pocket. If you don't want to wear them in your ear for the video, you can put them in your shirt pocket and they should work to record audio that way. You guys don't look like you all have AirPods, not big AirPods fans. Okay. They're a little steep, granted. Laura's got a pair. Okay. She's like, yeah.
Well, I have a knockoff pair that
those count.
$40 and they work fine. They work perfectly well, and I had never actually thought to use them for video purposes, but I actually will do that next time and give that a go. That's a great idea.
You're welcome. Hopefully I'm full of many of them.
Keep them coming.
All right. Okay. Moving on, I included the link here to what I put in that chat. And like I said, there's tons of articles in there. We might scroll through a few here in a few minutes. Think about when you're scrolling through video, how long do you give a person to get going before you scroll right through, right? So you know you got to start your videos off with something very interesting to get people to stay. Unless you're, if you're more developing the video for an email, you have a greater chance of them kind of watching a little bit longer as opposed to on Facebook and YouTube. The other thing in your planning, to think about is, what do you want someone to do when they're done watching this video? How's it going to fit into your sales funnel? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to take some other action? Are you just building your brand, you know, et cetera? Okay, now actually shooting your video.
Hey, Lauren,
Yeah.
I want to interject for anyone that's never done video that if you're using your smartphone to download some type of apps where you can put your script, which one do I use? I have to remember. Where you can type the teleprompter app, like one of those. I use just the one called teleprompter, but it'll download right from the app store and you can type it in and it scrolls on your screen, you know. And I couldn't do it any other way. Don't try and memorize something or read a piece of paper. It's not going to work. It's going to look stupid. Or you're going to freeze up when you try and memorize it. So that teleprompter is great.
Yes, and if you would rather just come use the studio here and put it on our teleprompter that is available to you. I've had a couple of people come in and do a couple of videos at one time to get the most out of their studio time and things like that. And then I have some people who don't like using the teleprompter at all. So it can be as easy or as hard as you want to make it. All right, so I reminded you to wipe off your cell phone camera before you use it. Now, as far as framing your shot goes, how many of you have heard of the rule of thirds? Yes. So that is when you have a grid of, say, 3 by 3, and you're lining up the person in your on film to line up with the lines in that grid. So keep in mind, all of the rules like that are, once you learn them, then you can break them. So even though it's considered kind of standard, obviously you're going to come across plenty of video that doesn't necessarily line up with the rule of thirds. But what you do want to be sure of is that if you're filming with your phone or another camera, is that sometimes when you go to hit record, it does trim off a little bit of the frame. So you're going to want to do a short little test clip to make sure you've got everything framed how you like it before you start your main video. I know it's something I have to take into account, especially when I film with our DSLR in the studio. It trims off a good couple inches. And then there's also the option of, say you're doing like a listing tour of a house. You can film the video of you going through the house, or use your video from your from the professional photographer you hired, and then do a voiceover for that if you want to highlight certain things. And actually the new things I've seen now is that you can put an overlay of yourself. Like, let's say, for example, you have your listing tour video. You could set that as a background, like this Zoom background here, and have yourself in front of that Zoom tour, or in front of that virtual tour. Zoom's added some functionality to be able to do that. And you can do that in some other softwares also. I've seen a few people doing that. But that's a little complex. So let's talk about lighting, which I have almost none in here right now because the lights keep turning off on me. Been a fun time. So actually, I might turn off my background and bring you guys with me to the studio real quick and I'll show you what I got going. Obviously, lighting is way easier said than done. If you have a room with a lot of natural light, you're gonna be better off than if you don't. I'm gonna stop my share for a few minutes, guys. And I'm gonna turn off my virtual background. And then we're gonna go to the studio. Field trip, everybody. Whee! Turn on the lights. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys in the studio here. We've got, okay. I've got a big light back there, a smaller light aimed really high to light the top of the head. Apologize. And then over here we've got a rather large light to light your face. There's that upper light again. And then we've got, it's really hard to tell on here, I know, but my background is separately lit from where my subject's gonna be, which is kind of an important feature. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but I've also got this other spot here in the studio where if that, or downstairs in the first floor, where if that light wasn't coming through that window, this would make a nice backdrop over here in this area, because I could pull the other lights out and have that lamp in the back. So the more light, the better, but also placement of your lights can play into it. I personally like to have lamps in the background when I do shoots. I think they look a little bit more polished than just the plain lights, especially if you're trying to do video from home or anything like that. If you're trying to add a little bit more je ne sais quoi. But I know we're all kind of working in a different world right now where you may not necessarily have the perfect backdrop or anything like that. People are very forgiving in these times that we're living in. So in the studio, we have about 4 lights available to use. And it makes a pretty big difference using that in coordination with adjusting the lighting a little bit in post-production. I do some of that in Adobe Premiere, but most of the basic editors have a little exposure control where you can adjust the quality of your video after you've done it. But it's much easier to make the adjustments while you're shooting the video as opposed to trying to make the adjustments after you've shot your video. Now, the studio is open for you guys to come use on an appointment basis if you just want to get in touch with me and we can set that up. Or let's talk about the other thing you want to look for when you're doing lighting is if you're like me and wear glasses, sometimes you can get a little bit of a glare. So you want to look for those if you can avoid them. What do you guys have any ideas for your videos? Nobody?
I'm in the middle of creating, well, the beginning process of creating one. This is our 20th year in business, and I'm going to do a 20-year montage. It's going to be a few months in the making because I wanted to feature all of our previous locations and all kinds of things, but that's sort of the big one I'm working on. Hopefully to have something, June is the official date of the anniversary. So hopefully to have something ready, fabulous by June. And I know that's like 5 months away, but you know, we're hoping to be able to have an event and perhaps feature something like that. And if not, I can blast it out on social media and that kind of thing. So that's my long-term goal, but short-term, just to get something out, you know, happy New Year. Here we are, it's winter. Find something funny to smile about. I mean, it doesn't have to be related to your business necessarily. I've done crazy ones where I talk about a recipe or, you know, that kind of thing. So just something to get people engaged. If you talk about the same thing all the time, nobody's watching.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, congratulations on 20 years. It's fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're awfully excited. We've got some big things planned for this year.
Nice, nice. All right. So moving right along. Tips for clothing and makeup. So when you're checking your video, if you have any unwanted flyaways, you want to check for those. Women, if you're wearing any necklaces or jewelry, you know, you want to make sure your necklace is centered, things like that. I like to, when I think of colors that you might want to wear on film, I like to think of the meteorologists you always see on TV. They're normally in solid block colors, right? Usually jewel tones, you know, no pinstripes, no super busy patterns or anything like that. So that way the focus is on you and what you're offering. Try to stay away from neon. I've had some interesting experiences with that. Some people's skin tones just straight collect the color and reflect that color back. So I've had some interesting experiences with neon orange. Try and stay away from that. Or if you like 30 Rock, Tina Fey says she has witch undertones. So get that shiny green. Okay. I've mentioned audio a few times. If you're having issues with audio, you can try doing the earbuds or, you know, any headphones that has a microphone included in that. And then also, if you're in a room that's not carpeted, you're bound to have a little bit more echo than if you're in one that is carpeted. So you can change your location to get better audio as well. Okay. Who's ready to shoot some video? One of the other great things that you can use that we're all using right now actually is Zoom. I don't know if you guys saw any of the Locked In with Kim episodes that started in March where we did a bunch of interviews. Zoom is a very easy platform to use to record your meetings and then share that video later. Actually, that's what I'll be doing later with this video for some folks who couldn't make it because they had a sales meeting today. Let's, if you guys are interested, poke around some of these links within the NAR references. Let me share my screen. All right. So here we've got a bunch of articles. I started out with 12 real estate agents or 12 real estate videos smart agents are using. Hi, Tatiana. You're on on camera too. Right there's fine. Yeah, you're good. So I just opened up that 12 real estate videos smart agents are using and examples. So one thing that's grown more popular is not just using your videos for YouTube or Facebook, but actually using them in your emails to customers or to clients. And the reason why is, like I said, think about how fast you scroll through when you're on social media versus when you're going through your email. And they even have some numbers, you know, convert 68% more leads with a video email versus a traditional email. So, and I've heard lots of agents rave about BombBomb and that service and how it tells its stats and things like that. So if you are looking to do more of that, I have heard some good reviews, although it costs a little bit of money. If you're trying to keep your costs low, you can use the workaround I was telling Laura about at the beginning. So obviously some of the, you know, more common ones are walkthroughs, and we talked a little bit more about that. And then my favorite are educational real estate videos, because if you're like me, you're typically looking to learn something specific when you're scrolling through videos. So for example, this guy has a nice checklist of what happens when you make an offer. And then we all understand the introduction videos, introducing yourself. I watched this one earlier. It starts off with her, she's really into Bikram yoga. So the first 20 seconds is different shots of her in her 110-degree studio, keeping it warm. Drone listing videos. If you're using a professional, they'll probably give you some of those. And then Facebook Live, let's see, what sort of video is this? So this is one I started to watch earlier, how to remove demons from your home, from the wonderful Lee Brown.
So anybody who's been in real estate more than 5 minutes has war stories to tell about the houses they've shown, or the listing appointments they've been on, or just the crazy things they've heard from consumers who are out trying to buy and sell houses. So I wanted to share with y'all one of the pieces of information I've learned.
And I just want to point out that Lee's not in a professional studio. It doesn't look like she's got a microphone anywhere. She's probably just using her cell phone camera, and her video looks fine, right? And it's only 3 minutes long, and it's pretty interesting. I watched for about 2 minutes, but in the interest of time, I'll keep going. But that's it. That's all it's got to be, you know? And these articles give so many suggestions of different types of videos you can make. And there's that play button, kind of like what I was saying, that that I put on my overlays for my videos. And actually, BombBomb did some studies where they're like, what type of play button actually gets the most clicks? And this play button, where it's got the button over here, and it's called a news ticker style because it kind of goes across the whole frame like a news ticker on the news. They said that one had the highest rate of highest click rate. So that's what I use for our videos. So if you're thinking about doing that personal introduction video, again, lean on your hobbies and your interests. You know, what makes you you, because that'll really shine through if you think about and plan everything carefully. And then client testimonial videos. Some of these articles have some good tips for how to get those. They recommend, for example, getting those just a week after the closing. And that gives you some ideas for how to get them to give you a good testimonial, because That's easier said than done, getting a good testimonial. So you give them a script to follow when writing and reading their testimonials. So that's one of the articles we have in here. Do any of these look interesting to you guys? Let's do this one. Video marketing ideas for real estate agents. So anyway, you could be here days reading all the information that NAR has put together. Neighborhood tour video. Man, I wish I would live there. Look at that house. Why don't we have those in Fredericksburg? This is the really fancy article. 3D animations. Right? We all like useful advice. What to look for in a specific type of house, inform clients of the paperwork involved, give them advice and ideas on the renovation, and keep it short. Yeah, 8 seconds is really hard to get something 8 seconds short, but if you can keep it within 20 to 30, you're gonna have most people finish your video. Well, that's people's attention span. So take that with a grain of salt, but it's only been getting shorter. So yeah, if you just remember, a minute is a long time when you're scrolling through online. Definitely. Short and sweet. Okay. And Tatiana makes a good point. Yeah, if it's good content, something that someone wants to watch, is searching for, you might have them for 10, 20, 30 minutes. So. Yes. Do you guys have any other questions about anything? Well, you kind of already answered my questions. I was going to ask you, like, can you give me an example of like topics that you would want to hear from a realtor? And I think you already. So, is everyone's goal for 2021 at least do one video?
Well, I would like to do one every other week.
One every other week. Wow, that's ambitious. I like it. Tatiana's doing one every other week, y'all. We're doing this. Yes. She says she's keeping it short. But the other key I like to tell people about is that when you're making a video, think about all the other stuff you can use it for. If your video does have a little bit of length to it, can you take out a sentence or two and make short little Instagram or Facebook stories with it? Can you do a selfie, at the beginning of your video and post that, as a behind the scenes, like I'm working on a video. So you can get extra mileage out of one video if you're planning other bits of content from that video. Because we found that's one of the things that's been interesting working for FAR is that we put out so much content that sometimes we don't put an emphasis on making sure that content stays in distribution for a long enough amount of time. It's interesting, one of the statistics I've heard is for every dollar spent producing content is you spend 5 on distributing it. And that's just a rule of thumb I've heard elsewhere. Because you want to make sure that you're putting the effort in where you're going to get the ROI. Right? So with a little bit of planning, consistent publication, making sure your lighting and audio is decent, you can go a long way. So our next Tech Time in February is going to be a continuation of this one. We're going to get into the editing aspect, which that gives me a little bit more time to poke around in Canva video and see what its limitations are. I have a feeling once you work up to a minute or a minute and a half, it might be too much for Canva, but I'll have more details on that when I get back. I know personally FAR uses the service. We use an online editor called Animoto when I'm not doing things in the Adobe suite. I know that's available. I want to say it's like $10 a month. It's a drag and drop editor, so it's pretty easy to use. But if with Canva's overlays and things like that for new people, I would highly recommend that.
Yeah, Canva also with the video component, I found it to be a little more user friendly to use my phone, the Canva app on my phone, only because I did not then have to go through taking the video from my phone and uploading it to my computer. I could upload it into the app. It was right there, and then I could open it on my desktop and put everything together. But it was certainly easier to put it into the app on my phone.
Yes,
So
definitely.
I was trying it another way, and I was like, this is taking way too long, and there were some glitches, but it was certainly easier. And it can all be done right from the app on your phone. The problem for me was when you're trying to type anything, the text is so teeny tiny that it's hard to see, and it's a little clumsy to change the font if you wanted to, or that kind of thing. I think it opens it up more if you do it on your desktop, like put the video in on your app and then do everything else on your desktop.
I like that tip. Thank you. Supposedly the other app that should be pretty easy to use is the app called Quick, Q-U-I-K, and that's the video editing app made by GoPro. And I think they have some nice overlays and things like that built into there that you can play along with. If you find that you've stretched your ideas in one tech, you can always try another program to see what it offers. So who's ready to create their video right now? Tatiana says me, so I'm definitely going to help her today with that. Yeah, if any of you guys are looking more into like getting nicer like cameras or anything like that, like if your whole office is going to use something like that, I do have some lists that I've gotten from other communication directors at other associations that has some recommend equipment for lighting, cameras, things like that. If you're interested, I can send that out to you guys. But most of us are extremely capable with what we have on hand. It's just deciding how to use it. But I appreciate you guys coming out today and joining us. I don't have too much else to cover. I can keep clicking through some of this NAR stuff. Who's doing video a lot in your office, Leanne? Are you doing all the video?
Oh, volume.
We're not doing a lot, but when we do it, I do it
Okay.
because everybody else is uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Like twisting arms to get people to do stuff. You
Right.
just can't take no for an answer.
Mhm.
I'll have you come strong arm them.
I know. I feel like that's what I do. I'm the video bully. And it will never fail. I can even send out an email like, on Wednesday, I'm going to be coming around and taking a short video snippet, and this is what you need to say. And Wednesday will come when I show up, they'll be like, oh, I wish you had told me I would have done my hair this way, or I would have worn such and such, or like, oh, I did tell you. I did tell you. Or like, I don't like this top. It's not going to show up. Like, just, we're going to do it. People always are going to find excuses. You just can't accept them.
Right. Eventually all those times add up and you just realize I am who I am. This is what it is. You see what you get.
And I agree with what you're saying. I think there's a lot of forgiveness for unprofessional videos. They want you to be real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too. And I remember back in the fall, we had one of those gorgeous days and I was trying to do a video outside. And because of our office location, cars, not just cars, but like speeding cars or I don't know, fire truck, things just kept going by. And finally, I was just like, there's no way I can put this together without that happening. I just embraced it as part of my video. We talked a little bit about the downtown traffic situation, just tried to incorporate it. And no one, I mean, I've never gotten criticism for a video I've posted ever.
Right.
People might in the back of their minds be thinking she looks ridiculous, but no one's had the nerve to say it to my face. So not yet.
Just blame it on your colleagues when it happens.
I know. I don't rope them in as much as I should. I think that's going to be one of my goals for 2021. Get a little more, because people like to see them. That's what they don't understand. Like, nobody just wants to see me all the time. Like, show everybody else. I would love to do like a weekly feature, but I don't think that like on each of my coworkers, but I don't think that will go over well at all. I think I'd have maybe 2 that would want to participate.
One of the reasons I'm looking at it today is because with the current COVID concerns, we're going to go to an every other week hybrid business meeting. And on the off weeks, we're going to do a short video with production numbers and, kudos and new listings and that kind of thing. And so we will be doing a little bit more inter-office videos. I might come in my pajamas some days. I don't have, I'm just teasing.
That's a good idea though. I like that. And people should be a little less guarded if it's just going to be inter-office and not, dispersed out to the public.
Right.
Which I don't do that. I shame everyone publicly.
I'm going to stay on your good side.
I wouldn't do it to you. The good part of that is though, like I know enough about the editing that I will make sure your lighting is correct and I can go in and like touch you up a little bit if I need to and that kind of thing. So you do want to stay on my good side.
Okay. I'll remember that if I'm over there for a function.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm going to go. Lauren, if you find anything out cool about Canva in the next, before we meet again, let me know and I'll let you know too, because it's my new toy.
All right. Will do.
Okay.
I love it.
Bye, Leanne. Good to see you.
Yes. Good to see you. Thanks so much, Lauren.
Oh, bye.
Bye. Thank y'all.